Hey Shooby-Doodlers, how are you doing? Well, in my last video, which you can see up here, I was showing how to draw backgrounds for kind of book illustrations. When I finished, I thought there's more to this subject, and I started thinking about sort of 2 dimensions and all sorts of things like that. And then I got a message from my patron Aidan, who asked me, how do I draw cityscapes? And I thought that sort of fits in with this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is today I'm going to draw a cityscape, but kind of low-level cityscape, kind of at the sort of shopping level with you know, shops and stores and things like that. And then I'm going to do another video. The next video will be kind of, you know, more downtown with the big skyscrapers and stuff like that going on. And then I think I might also do another video which will be kind of like a strip mall as well. And then I'll do another video again which will kind of bring them all together in terms of backgrounds, thinking a bit like an animator, and having kind of layers and levels and things going on, but in 2 dimensions. But today I'm going to show you how to draw a kind of a high street shopping scene with lots of different shops and stores. It's a world that's rapidly changing due to Amazon and online shopping, but the buildings are still there and they make up part of the cityscape. So let's not talk about it, let's get drawing. So I'm going to start by drawing a line across the middle just to kind of give me an idea of what I'm doing. And I think this is going to be the kind of street level. And I'm going to think that this is kind of going to be the kind of fascia board level. And this is going to be the kind of upstairs level. Okay, that's just to get me going. So I think I am going to start right in the middle, and I'm going to maybe zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to draw a vertical like that. And I'm going to assume there's these kind of pillars up the side of the building. This one's going to be a bit wider here. And then I'm going to put an arch around the top like that. Then there's going to be a level across there. We'll have a level across there, and we'll have a little bit sticking up above like that. I think that's all I need to start. So I'm going to draw in this arch all the way around. Ooh, a bit wobbly. But that's kind of my style really, and there's something can always discuss. Well, I'm going to put in a keystone there. So if you're drawing an arch, always put the keystone in first. And I think style is a tricky thing to discuss. Style is something that emerges really. And when you try drawing all sorts of different styles and maybe copy other people's styles, eventually you kind of mishmash them all together and it becomes your style. And it's probably also got something to do with the way you hold the pen, how shaky your hand is, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to now draw a shaky-ish line up the side there, sort of assuming that's bricks or something like that, and then a little line across the top. Go up there, and a little line across the top as well. And it's all these little details that kind of make it. These are kind of bricks that give it that kind of interest, I think. So we've got this arch, and the shop front is built into it. So we're going to put a line across there, and this could be done with, or it could be done with anything like tongue and groove board or something like that. That's just been in there to fill it in. Once upon a time, of course, this might have actually been a carriageway. There might have been certain stagecoaches or whatever going through the arch, but it's now being converted into a storefront. And we're going to want a doorway. And so that will sort of come down to there. This will be the street level. And we're going to want the door frame, so there'll be a bit of a frame like that. And then we can kind of build the door in there, maybe a little letterbox like that, and maybe a number over the door. And then we're going to want a windowsill across there. And this could be, I don't know, let's say it's a bookstore. Okay, something like that. And they haven't really got a sign over the front. So maybe they got something written on there as well. And that's a bookstore. And then it's really difficult to make windows look like glass. So I'm just going to do this because it needs to be quite dark at the top like that. And then I'm going to maybe do something in there like that. And then some lines going through to make it kind of look like glass. And a little open sign. And then up at the top here, I'm going to split this into 3 like that. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up and down, up and down, up and down like that. And then I'm going to draw in these little hemispheres. So this is kind of like the top window. And then 3 little bits like that to make that into a window frame like that. And I think by having 3, that again just makes it a bit more interesting. And we can shade some of it in, but we don't need to shade it all in. And again with these bits here, we can do a bit of that. And then I'm just going to put little dots in here, but it, in reality it could be brickwork, fancy brickwork or something like that. But at this kind of level of drawing, not at this level of difficulty, but at this kind of level of size, I think you can get away with doing something like that. And then we might have a little bit of something just there as well. And now next door I'm going to put something like that, and then I'm going to go up a bit, and then I'm going to go across like that, and then down a little bit, and then another little bit there. And that's how wide this next door is going to be. That's kind of going to come down like that. Let's draw in the street level. And we're going to have something similar here, but maybe just a slightly different line. And this is going to be the streets, this is going to be the name. And again, we're going to have a frame here for the door. A little window light above it. And kind of a tall door like that. And I'm going to have, let's have it, there's kind of barred window kind of doors that you have. And again, we're going to want a windowsill. this is a sign of the times. So this has been maybe a greengrocer's or a fish shop or something like that. And nobody buys that. They go to the supermarket or wherever. So this could be a fish stall, which kind of quite often had tiles down the front. In fact, there could have been open window, and the fish was, quite often fish stalls were open, and the fish would be laid out on a little kind of thing here, so that you could sort of stand outside and buy over the counter. But now it's been filled in with glass, and there's something written on there, and maybe there's little things posted up on the window like that, and maybe, I don't know what it is, like an employment agency, something like that, some kind of agency, I think. And they're not bothering too much with the sign. They've just got something small which they've just stuck on there. They don't want to paint the whole thing. And then we're going to want to split this into 3 again. So I'm going to draw a window there, a window there, and we want to fit another one in there. And it's about splitting and, shaping up and, sort of splitting up the whole thing. And so basically we got a hole there for the window frame, and we're going to have a lintel over the top which stops the everything else. So it's like a concrete bar or something maybe up there to stop the roof falling in. And that's the window sill, which is to let the rain drip off. And then we'll do something very simple here. So this is very simple kind of sash window kind of thing. So that will go there. So you need a kind of little box all together there, and then a kind of a U shape underneath it. And there you are. It's a simple little store. And we can have something a bit grander next door, I think. So it's going to be a little bit taller, the house next door, the store next door. Do you get what I did there? And that wants to be kind of about double, probably. So let's take that up about there, like that. And again, we're going to want this kind of little ridge across the top. And this is going to be a double fronted store, so we're going to have something like that. And maybe we'll have a little fire alarm thing, a burglar alarm. And let's call this Fashion. They really thought hard about that name, didn't they? And it could be something across the top here. So I'm just going to do lots of little dots. So this could be, you know, that kind of mosaic stuff that you sometimes get on shots, especially around about the 1960s, that kind of thing. Some kind of little pattern thing going on up there. And we've got the street level here. We need a door right in the middle. So again, we're going to need a door frame. This is going to be a big double doors. And we'll bring that down. And I think we're going to take that almost all the way down to the bottom like that. And maybe one of them has a letterbox, and then we've probably got handles there as well. And that's going to tell you the number on the glass above. There's a window light, is the bit that's above the door, that's called. And we're going to have this quite low down here. That's the window frame, window sill. And we're going to have a frame again down the side. And you're probably going to see, if it's a fashion store, you're going to see bodies in the window, aren't you? Great fashion, they're going to be on there, something like that. And then we can maybe put a bit of shading in between them, which will kind of help them stand out a little bit. And then again, we're going to need some shading up above because it's darker in the store, and we can shade that one in as well. And here we can do on the doors, and that needs to be shaded in there too. And then we're going to draw some kind of shiny glass bits over the fashion dummies. And then we're going to need some windows up above again. So let's do something like that. Something like that. How many are we going to fit in there? Can we fit 5? 5? I'm a glutton for punishment. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So a lot of these stores were kind of built in the turn of the century, the 20th century, sort of, many probably in the 20s and 30s. And everyone who was commissioning a new store, they wanted people to know how grand they were, you know, so they wanted details to make it look special. And so again, we can have sash windows in there. And let's try and make this so that we got a bar down the middle of these sash windows as well, which again, all these little details just add to the interest and just make the drawing look more interesting. So here we're kind of dropping down like it's a U shape rather than a whole box, because the top of it is hidden underneath the bottom of the sash of the top layer, if that makes any sense at all. And then I think we're going to add a little bit of decoration. So maybe there's a medallion here or something like that. And we'll just draw these little panels like that. So these will be stucco, kind of made of plaster or something like that on the top, which could just be plain, or they could have a little bit of pattern or writing or anything in them. And then we probably need to do something with these windows as well. How are you doing? How are you doing? It's a bit of a mega drawing, this, isn't it? I'm going to chop the whole thing up into chapters, and if you look kind of along the bottom here, along the red line, or whatever it is, you can see it's cut up. So you'll be able to go from one store to another. And remember that at any time you can stop and you can start and you can replay. You can replay the video as many times as you like. It's not going to wear out, so you can stop while you draw a bit, and then you can come back to see how it carries on. Okay, on for the next store. I think I might have to move this along a bit. Let's take a walk down the street a bit. I'm going to have this about like that, I think, something like that. There. Let's think about where these, it wants to be a bit wider, this one, I think. So let's think about where these fascia boards are going to go. So that's there, so that's about the middle. Let's get rid of that line because that's going to confuse us. So that's about the middle. We're going to want to go about like that. And then we're going to have a kind of a curve up there like that. And then that's going to be kind of the top, but up above we've got going to have these little dormer windows inside the roof. And we're going to want kind of a window about there, window about there. And the rest, yeah, let's work it all out. So here I'm going to start with a curve around like that, and around like that, and then a little blobby bit like that. We'll have another little bit here. So this is like a little mini pillar thing that goes on here with a little bit of decoration in there, as you can hardly see. And we're going to bring a fascia board out to there. In fact, what we're going to do is bring this all the way down to about there first, and that down to about there, and we will put like a pillar what do they call, pillar base anyway, down at the bottom like that. So that means that we can put in our fascia boards, which is where the shop name goes, and that can come there like that. There's going to be a bit of a frame to that, and then that can come up the side there, and that can come down. So we are actually going to have two shops going on here, and that will have a doorway, and this will have a doorway, and it's the same kind of construction. So I think, you know, when you're drawing buildings, I think it kind of helps to have a little bit of an understanding of kind of, you know, if you've ever picked up a hammer and a saw and put something together, and then that's going to be the window light up above. I think it's going to help. And here we can have some kind of brickwork or pattern down on that one, like that one. Here we might have a different pattern because they're different stores, and they've, over the years, they've kind of changed things about a bit. And this one here can have a nice big window like that, and a little letterbox. And this one might have an arched window, and something like that. And then in here we're going to have, these are going to be kind of chambers upstairs. So this is kind of where the accountants might have offices up above. So I don't know what, I think it's an old Victorian, well, much older than Victorian, I think. Probably this word chambers up above up above the shop, and that might be just, you know, sort of timber work pattern kind of thing going on. That's looking a mess. I think that's also going to be recessed, so we'll get a bit of serious shadow in there as well, probably like that. And hey, let's have a clock, which is for the citizens of the town to know what time it is, but it's also letting the workers know they're late. Let's call this number 97. And this could be a TV hi-fi store. Are there such things anymore? I don't know. So anyway, there are things in the window there. And sale. Maybe they're closing down. Oh, it's a shame, isn't it? People just don't shop the same way that they used to. And here we might have kiddies' clothes, so we can have smaller dummies on this side. How about that? That works, doesn't it? And we do something like that. We also put little signs in the window. Shop assistant required. It's amazing how often I think people get hired because there's a little, just a scrappy piece of paper in the window saying, a shop assistant required. But if there aren't any shops, there aren't going to be shop assistants required, unfortunately. Let's call that Kidz and TV World. And then up above we're going to have these windows. So let's put the window in there. And this is more Georgian. This is quite an old building, I think, really. And there'll be a line going across there. And we can put a more interesting kind of brick lintel in up at the top there, like that. And then we still want a window sill. And we could maybe have quite a few panes in this if this is quite an old building. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And very possibly the roof has been attached and expanded and whatever, and so that they've put these dormer windows in up at the top to make more space, another office up above. And we'll have 2 little things coming down either side for the frame. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. You can take more time over this. Oh, I'm getting bored and kind of losing my will to live. No, it's not quite that bad. To get regular drawing hints, tips and inspiration, click subscribe, ring the bell and select all notifications. So I think this is going to be more complicated. I'm going to take that just slightly lower, and I'm going to think that that is the edge of the building. That's the edge of the street, in fact. But in fact, it's like they've nibbed a little bit off the corner like that. And in this little nibby corner, they have built a little kind of a tower, like a little fairy princess tower kind of thing. So that will just sort of come out there like that. It might well change as we go along. So, and then here we'll kind of maybe have an arch. This is going to be like a fancy pub, I think, here. That would be an arch going in there. And then we'll see kind of a door in there. We won't see the whole of it there. Let's assume it's like that there, something like that. And then we're going to go, let's have a window there, a window line there, should I say. And I think we're going to go 4 and try and get this fairly even. So this might have to come that way a bit. So you might have to play with this kind of thing, and don't press too hard because it's going to be really hard to erase it later. And I'm going to think that I'm going to have a line across the bottom like that, and then the windows are going to be about there to about there. Yeah, that works. And then we're going to have, let's have this lower, and then this can come all the way around the top there. So this is going to be like a curly band. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So that will be more down like that. No, I'm going to go above. So let me see if I can erase some of that. So we'll go back to where we were with that. This is going to come up about there, so that this could maybe come out from the middle of it. Yeah, that works. And then that's going to be, these windows are going to be about there, and then we're going to have a kind of a pattern thing going on there, and then the roof coming up about there. I think that works. So I'm going to start with these windows. So I'm going to draw a window and a window and a window and a window, and then we need a corresponding one up above like that. And you know, I know some people watching will be a little bit OCD and they're going to like really straight lines and stuff like that, and they're going, oh, when they see me do little bits like that. Some people can, please can you erase that? And so this is me, this is my style, this is the way I handle a pen. And you know, and I totally get it if you're a little bit like that, but then that is your style, and you're certainly allowed to use a ruler. See, this is a kind of thing coming out like that, and it's kind of curving around, but I'm going to have it as in angles, I think, so we'll do it like that. So that's going to come down there and there and there, and we probably might need a little bit of something like that, so there'll be this kind of thing holding it all together like that. That's going to come down like that, and then I think we're going to actually make this more of a kind of a dome on the top. We're just going to have a little thing on the top there, and it's going to have these cute kind of tiles, and you can just sort of curly whirly 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 those. Here I'm going to draw two lines going across, and then there'll be two lines going across, and this will come up here, and this is going to be the roof. So I can put these little lines here across. So these are ridge tiles going the way across the roof, and there might even be a chimney sticking up maybe on the other side. And here we want to do tiles, and tiles are the horrible things to draw, so I'm just kind of drawing a suspicion, a mere suspicion of tiles like that. Across here we're going to do something similar, that double line coming right across like that, and that can come down there, and we want that bit coming down there. This is so complicated. I think I'm going to have to do something sort of like that to get this corner piece in there, and that will come down there and probably have a little something there. This is not easy, is it? So we'll bring a line down there, and this will be the window light of the door, and this is the door going in, and then you might find there's a menu board or something like that going on. That might be a different level there, something up there. Oh, there's probably a light hanging down too, isn't there? So here we're going to call this Rose and Crown. So this is a pub called the Rose and Crown, and then there's, you know, all sorts of little patterns and things all made into the plaster work. And here again, this is going to have sort of fancy plaster work, so I'm just kind of gently kind of scribbling in there. If you want to do perfect plaster work, then please be my guest. And here I think we're going to have something like that going on, and maybe something there as well. I'm just going to put a little bit of shading up the side of that just to make it kind of feel like it's going around the corner. Similarly, we might want a bit of shading down there. Now here I'm going to put a line across there too, and then we can put the street level in there. And this I'm going to put a kind of a diamond pattern in. So I'm going to go all the way across like that, and then I'm going to go all the way across the other way too. And it's really just to put a bit of texture in. So this is a very ornate pub and that's going to be, we want sort of 2 lines there and there, and there 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 and there, and here we can have signs and menu boards on the outside telling you what kind of beer and food they're selling, that kind of thing. And I think we might have some kind of pattern up above and below it as well. We're going to want lintels over the windows again. So you can see, you know, there's certain recurring themes like lintels and windowsills. And we're going to put in sash windows and lintels again. And I think we're going to put these lines in up here again too. So this is, this is kind of maybe late 19th century. People didn't have much. And they would quite often go and eat at the pub. Well, I don't know. No, it was more of a meeting house, the pub. So this could have been, you know, a restaurant too. But anyway, they probably had a dining room upstairs, maybe. That's the thing. So people would go and they would talk and meet and whatever. No TV, no radio. So this is where they would go for their entertainment. And if you were living in a grotty little place, then coming to a place like this is like your little palace. You want it to be gorgeous, and you want it all to have kind of velvet, you know, sort of banquettes and stools, and you want sort of lush woods and ornamentation, just to feel like, you know, you can be a prince or a princess for a day. It's not quite palatial enough to think you're a king or a queen. And again, I think, you know, when you're making something really ornamental, again, it's all about little details, isn't it? And so putting in little panes of glass makes it kind of look more quaint. And it does your hand in while you're doing it. But you're not making a video, so you don't have to just keep going. You can sort of go and have a break, have a cup of coffee, and come back to it in a minute. Of course, when you are absolutely sure that the ink is dry, you can erase all those pencil lines, and no one will know quite how you've worked it all out. And now I'm going to have to go back down the other end of the street. Now what's happened here is, this will be about kind of 1965, and and somebody thought, I need a new store, and it's going to be modern, and they're going to be selling, what would they be selling in 1964? Radio stuff was pretty hi-fi, probably they were selling hi-fi or something. They want bedding, carpets, that's what they're selling. So in 1964 they said, we're going to start selling carpets, and so they're going to need something, they're going to need a big entrance probably, so they'll have a fairly big entrance there, and you're going to want to be able to look in the window, and that'll be something like that. And then up above they're going to have horrid windows like that, and up above here you've definitely got an accountant working up there. Accountants always work in these really cheap places up above carpet store. I'm sorry if you're an accountant, but in my experience that is how it works. So they have not wanted to spend a lot of money, and someone has convinced them that the latest fashion is to have everything really bare and really boring. And so maybe you've got a windowsill, but you're not going to have a lintel. That's all plastered in underneath like that. I'm just going to have to think about, so you're going to have that into 3, aren't you, like that. Yeah, so we're just going to have this. In the UK these were called Crittle windows, and there was this company called Crittle, and they just kind of took over the world in the 60s, and they made these metal windows and they were freezing, absolutely freezing. They were just kind of standard windows that went in absolutely everywhere. It was after the war, basically, and you just got what you could. And Crittall were making these things, and then and everybody froze, basically. So in these freezing cold windows, and that's the top. There's no decoration, so we'll put carpets, and then you've probably got a kind of a logo like that or something. There's the carpets unrolling. Again, we got this really simple thing going on. We'll have a double doors and something like that. We're going to have lots of sale, lots of come and buy flashes all over the window like that. And we're going to have big doors, big double doors, so you can get the rolls of carpet in and out. And again, we'll do something like that. And here we're going to want to... How boring is that? Okay, you might have an old 1960s TV aerial still sticking up there. And I think finally we're going to finish off with something a little prettier. And we're going to squeeze this in at the end. And we're going to have a nice little boutique. And it's probably going to be about the same height, something like that. And then it's going to have one of those little drop-down canopy things there. It's going to be called Claire's, probably. Claire's. And that's going to sort of come down there like that with a little scalloped edge. I think, well, yeah, let's go up a little bit and then across. I think the whole thing about a boutique is, you want to make it twee or cute, I don't know. So we're going to put some little flower pots up here like that with some flowers in there, and then we can bring the rest of the wall coming up about there. Maybe it's going a little bit higher there, something like that. And then we're going to want the guttering about there, and then the roof. Oops, gone over the edge. Sorry. That's the ridge tiles. And then we've probably also got a little chimney thing going on there as well. And maybe on this side too we could have another chimney, because it's cute. And again, we don't want to draw all the tiles, so I'm just going to kind of draw this kind of random tiley kind of thing. And then let's have the windows, a couple of windows in there. So spacing them out is the tricky bit, isn't it, I think. So let's come down and up, down, across and up. And here we're going to have them curved on the top, because that makes them look a little bit prettier and cuter, just that added ornamentation. And again, these are going to be sash windows, and these are going to be kind of barred like that, and across like that. And again, we're going to want to kind of shade some of this in like that. And then I think we need to kind of make it look cute as well, but to add a little, there might be a little sign up there as well. We're going to have a burglar alarm again. Should have burglar. Oh, this will have a great big burglar alarm on there. So we can put the kind of the brickwork in there, and this will sort of come down the front, and we'll have a bit of brickwork here like that, and probably a bit of brickwork across the front like that. And then I think let's think, you're gonna have to come in the front there. I think we might have some steps inside there, and then here we're going to have like a little picket fence to make it look like a piece of the countryside. Little piece of the countryside in town, and that's going to make it look all cute. We're going to maybe have some little shrubs and things. This is the frame, window frame, and again this is probably going to be a fashion shop, isn't it? And then maybe even just one model in the window there, and we want some shading underneath the canopy, and then lines going through there as well to put it behind the glass. And then we're going to need a little window light up there, and I think we're going to want this to be quite sort of cute too, so we're going to have lots of little window, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 like that, and then something down below, something like that. And there we have Claire's boutique. And then when you're absolutely sure that it is dry, then you can erase those pencil lines, and as I say, no one will know how you planned it all out. So let's take a walk down the street. There's Claire's little boutique and the horrid 1960s carpet store. What did we think? That was an employment store, didn't we? And I can't remember what that was now. Bookshop is the fashion store. TV World and Kidz. And here is the pub at the end of the street, though. Sure, I think I'm about to go myself. I'll go and have a cup of tea. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed that. And as I say, next I'm going to do the kind of the big downtown cityscape, which I can kind of put behind that. I'm now going to go and paint this, especially for my patrons. So if you've watched this far, why don't you come over and support me on Patreon? You get so much more. You get all the images and help sheets and stuff as I go along. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel, and come back for the next video when I'm going to be doing that downtown thing. And next week I'll be doing a strip mall, and I'll also be starting to put it all together in a background with characters involved. Thanks for watching, and as I say, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Click it here, ring the bell for notifications. And in the meantime, keep drawing, drawing, drawing. Practice, practice, practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.